With the release of the finale of WandaVision that came out yesterday, it's time to rank all 9 episodes of WandaVision. My list is definitely not the right list. It's just my list, and the comment section works now, so be sure to share your ranking of all 9 WandaVision episodes ranked. So let's get to it. In last place at number 9 is episode 3, Now in Color. This is an episode that is entirely watchable, but out of all, it's my least favorite. For some reason, this is a standalone episode that focuses on Wanda being pregnant and having her babies and having her children that are going to appear for the rest of the show. And it focuses more on that than what we are learning. Of course, you see glitching Herb and gossiping Agnes in the movie. You see all this strange stuff happening. Entirely watchable episode. But then Geraldine / Monica gets kicked out of Wanda's reality. That's a cool scene. And all this strange and wacky stuff is happening. But out of all these episodes, this one, thinking about it, this one is my least favorite. Coming in at number 8 is episode 1, filmed before a live studio audience. Now, this is a really weird way to kick off the start of an MCU show. For one, it just goes into 2021. We were going into 2021. And it looks like we're watching a sitcom that came directly from the 1950s, which it is. But this episode is a weird way to kick off the show because it doesn't bother to explain the rules, how and why it's a sitcom, why Vision is alive. So you start the show off asking many questions in your head, and you don't get answers until some of the later episodes in the show. So while this is an episode that I like, it's a really weird way to kick off a show, especially part of the MCU. At number 7, we interrupt this program, or episode 4 of WandaVision. Now, this episode, it has some good moments to it. It's an episode that delivers exposition when we had a lot of questions, which is good. The issue I have with the episode is that it is an exposition episode itself. See, the problem is that Wanda and Vision are barely in the episode, but they explain what's going on in the other side of Westview, which I'm sure is a good thing. But I'm not really a big fan of these exposition episodes because I like the in Westview segments way more than what's happening outside. I mean, what's happening outside is also interesting because Sword is trying to kill Wanda all of a sudden in some later episodes. So this does help to see foreshadowing later episodes and stuff. But the problem is, after the first 3 episodes, it's kind of sad. It's kind of sad and disappointing that we don't get to see what happens next, and it's just a rehash of what happened in the first 3 episodes while being on the other side and being an exposition episode. So that's why it's this low on the list. At number 6, episode 7, or Breaking the Fourth Wall. Now this episode gives me memories of the Office with a blend of Modern Family. But for some reason, they decided to separate Wanda and Vision in this episode, which doesn't really work for me, especially since this is part of the MCU. and people are sitting down doing interviews in the show. And I could totally respect that it's part of the sitcom-y vibe that the show is going for. But, like, yeah, if you hear noises out there, that there's people out there, that's just in my other video also, my WandaVision review. Recommend checking that out. That's my companion video to this one. So they decide to split Wanda and Vision apart, and Vision just disappears in the middle of the episode without any questions or anything about where he is, and you don't get to see him until the last episode. This episode has its moments, but it's an episode that is a little dull on the WandaVision aesthetic. Coming in at number 5 is Don't Touch the Dial, or episode 2 of WandaVision. Now, episode 2, that one's a bit tricky to place for me because there are some bad things about it, and the whole black and white sitcom thing, it does some good things with that also. It's sort of funny, and it may be the funniest episode on this list, but I do.
No.
Oh, it's not.
But
He's not.
I do
It's not.
yeah. You might hear some crazy noises out there. You might hear noises out there. That's just, yeah. There's people out there. Just ignore that, okay? And then, so back to the episode. The episode is black and white, and it does some things with the sitcom-y vibe. But for me, the sitcom-y vibe itself doesn't work. For some reason, this is a standalone episode, so that's what makes it doesn't stand out. This is probably the episode I've watched the least of WandaVision, because all it is Wanda and Vision trying to fit into their town by running a talent show. So it's revealed that Agatha Harkness does all the magic there. But it's just not my kind of episode. An episode that I watch all the time. At number 4 is going to be Previously On. An episode that's really deep for me, but all these episodes that from here and down are pretty much standalones and things, because this one really, it just, like episode 4, it delivers exposition that happened before Civil War did and before all of WandaVision did. How Wanda created fake commercials, how she did the sitcoms, how she did everything like that. That's pretty interesting to me. If you ask me, that's pretty interesting to see that. The toaster was a bomb in episode 1, but it's just an episode that delivers exposition once again, and that's just not my kind of episode. Like I said, episode 4, that's what's really low on the list. But on the positive side, episode 8 does have Wanda, and it does foreshadow the Vision, although the Vision doesn't really appear, but White Vision appears in the credit scene. And it's a pretty well played, decent episode, mid-tier. So I'm just putting it somewhere around this area of the list. Now we'll move on to my top 3. At number 3 is episode 5, On a Very Special Episode. This episode may be the most suspenseful out of all of the entirety of WandaVision. It finds a way to do this twist at the end where X-Men Quicksilver shows up, but he's not really X-Men Quicksilver by the time we reach the end of the show. But it's very suspenseful, and it works on 2 things at one time. There are these people reading a message at the exact same time. It's just So it's sort of like that. And there's WandaVision arguing at the end. Suddenly, X-Men Quicksilver shows up, controlled by Agatha. Cool stuff. And this may be the most darkest episode out of all of the other episodes. So there's that. I don't really have much to say about it, but I still don't have words for the episode, but I like it. Our runner-up is the series finale of WandaVision. After a pair of decent episodes, they decided to make an episode that actually has action. So this episode is the only episode that has action, but unfortunately, it couldn't make it to my number one. It has a satisfying conclusion where Vision is fighting White Vision and Wanda is fighting Agatha. Billy and Tommy are dealing with the sword agents. Monica is learning about her new powers. Now, I don't have a problem with any of that's happening in the action. There's just a lot going on to keep track of. Now, when you reach the end of the episode, it doesn't really pay off the way it should, but a solid episode. I gotta tell you, it was this close to being another one. It's actually my brother's favorite episode. It was this close. Essentially, this and my number one episode are tied. But my number one episode is All New Halloween Spooktacular. Episode 6 of WandaVision is for me the episode that I like to watch a lot. Because while it balances out the stuff that's happening in the real world and Westview, it manages to give us some things about the comics as well. Billy and Tommy are in the comic outfits as Speed and Wiccan, and then so are Wanda and Vision. So that's pretty cool to see. And while Vision is walking around in the like on the street, he sees people like still hanging the decorations, and he sees tears running down people's faces when they're frozen. That's really emotional scene. It's really cool to see that. I may have glitched a little, probably just a small glitch. But for me, this episode it actually works. For me, it's the one that gets me the most. It's the one that gets me the most amped up to read like comics. It reminds me of the Marvel comics. It reminds me of Stan Lee. It reminds me of all the Marvels. This episode is surprisingly made it to my number one over the finale. So for me, it comes in at number one, and the comment section works now, so be sure to rank all the episodes of WandaVision. So when you rank all the episodes of WandaVision, I would like to see yours, because then the comments, they weren't working for my few other videos, so I was able to fix it. Down below in the comment section, share your ranking of all 9 WandaVision episodes. Hope to see you guys in the next video.